So, with me here today is Miss Jean and Mr. Allen Strickland. And today I'm just going to be asking y'all a few questions about your time here at Resurrection.
Okay.
Awesome. So, how long have you been a member of this church, both of y'all?
I was confirmed in 1948.
Nice, right. And then what about you?
I moved to Augusta when I graduated from Georgia Tech in 1956, and
Okay.
I've been here ever since. Yeah.
So how did y'all come to this church? Were you born into it, or you knew a friend or something like that?
I had a friend that was coming here.
A friend?
Mhm.
Awesome. Okay.
I was born into it.
Born into it, great.
Yes.
Okay, so over your time here, what activities have you participated in at the church?
Me to start?
You can go ahead.
Well, I started off being a youth advisor, and then I've been on church council. I've been Sunday school superintendent. I've taught Sunday school classes. I've decorated the church for Christmas.
Yes.
I've been on work details where we cleaned up around the property, painting details where we painted rooms, probably some other things, but that's enough.
That's a lot of stuff. And what about you, Miss Jean?
Well, I've taught various Sunday school classes. When he was the Sunday school superintendent, he kept a teacher's guide at home for each class.
Right.
And when the teacher called in and said, I won't be there Sunday, I was the teacher.
Nice.
So I've taught all different ages. But mainly the preschool classes probably longer than any others. And then also 8th grade. And we had 19 on the roll in that 8th grade class, and 15 of them came. So that was
Wow.
a wonderful year. I taught with Annalisa Childers,
Right.
and we had a great time that year.
That sounds so fun. So obviously with that, I'm sure you'll have some of your favorite memories at Resurrection. So if you could pick one, what would be your favorite memory here?
Well, I directed the handbell choirs as a volunteer.
Right.
And some of my favorite memories circle around that.
Right.
When they did well, and the fact that they have continued now since I've retired, that's good.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, I know a lot of people love it, and it always lightens up the church service when we get to ring. So that's great. And then what about you?
Well, I think some of my favorite memories are worshiping with my children and grandchildren.
Yes. I'm sure that holds a special place in many people's hearts.
And our wedding is a favorite memory.
Oh,
yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Yeah, that's been a
That
common
goes
answer.
without saying.
Right,
Yeah.
that has been a very common answer for that question. Okay, now within our church, what do you think is the best thing we do as a church?
I think our worship service and the music is what's important to me.
Right, I agree.
And the people, the fellow Christians that we have become friends with and known over the years. I think it's important.
Yeah, it is. It's a really good community. What about you?
The families, I remember that we were all hoping you'd be a girl.
Yes.
After 2 boys.
Yes.
We were so happy when it worked out that you were a girl.
Yes. So it's just one big family.
Yes.
That is
Yes.
great. If you could add or change one thing that you think would make the church even better, what would you change?
I think we could do a better job of communicating with our members, maybe with the community, when I was on church council, that was one thing I worked on.
Right.
Was trying to be sure that the committees communicated with each other and didn't come up with something planned, two things planned on the same day, you know,
Right.
it wouldn't work out. And
Yeah.
that sort of thing, to avoid those kind of conflicts. But I think it's something you have to work on all the time. You can't say, well, we sent out a newsletter and that's it.
Right.
You still have to communicate.
Right. Yeah.
And I think to communicate, particularly with our shut-ins,
Mm-hmm.
is important. And there are people who do go and visit, but it's not really organized. I don't think that, you know, that they have a list and they assign people
Right.
to them and all
Okay.
that. But now that we're getting older, we appreciate it. We're not shut in yet, except by the virus. But
Right.
we do have a lot of friends that are.
Right. Okay. That makes perfect sense. Now, over your time at Resurrection, kind of going back a little bit, what are some of the changes that you've already seen here?
Well, I remember seeing us lose people when we formed new churches in the community, new
Right.
Lutheran churches. And of course, that has been a change. Not recently, but some time ago.
Right.
Advent was the one that really took the largest group, I think. The church in North Augusta and the church in South Augusta took some of our members,
Right.
but not the large group of young families with children, multiple generation families
Right.
that moved to Advent. But you see, they were living out that way then.
Right.
But we used to be a downtown church, and we had members that lived all around here, that lived all the way up Walton Way and
Right.
that sort of thing. And at 5 miles, I was far out compared to a lot of them.
Mm-hmm.
But now they are way out. And
Right.
Advent was where they felt they could get their families to participate.
Right.
And so it was the thing to do, but it was really hard for us for a few years, losing that group.
I'm sure. Yeah. Well, hopefully with our community growing, maybe our church can grow too. So we got our fingers crossed for the future. And with the future, like, what are some of your hopes? I mean, obviously we hope that the church grows and stuff, but anything that you think in the future of this church, what do you think you see?
Well, I hope that disease will not confine us
Right.
much longer.
Yes.
And because that so limits
Mhm.
what we're able to do. I think all of us have missed the socialization, even just of having a cup of coffee and a sweet roll before church, you know,
Right.
being together, sitting around tables.
Mm-hmm.
We have really missed that. And the fact that our social hall didn't get finished until December
Right.
of 2019, and then we had to shut down in March of 2020.
Right.
And so we have not had the opportunity to fully use it and enjoy it.
Yes.
I hope that these events that we're planning for October will be able to be held without masks. We'll see.
Yeah.
the Oktoberfest and the Red Door Cafe and the 1920s party
Yes, ma'am.
would all be in those rooms, and because
Yeah.
we have wonderful worship services that are planned
Right.
too. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yes, that is definitely very exciting.
I just pray that our church in the future will continue to have the excellence and of leadership and pastors that we've had over the years.
Right.
It has been amazing, the pastors we've had, their ability and their leadership and just everything a pastor ought to be. I have friends at other churches that, you know, that are complaining about their situations and all, and I just think how lucky we have been, and I hope that just continues.
Yes, I do too, and I think it will.
We've had them for long periods of time.
Right.
Yeah.
Pastor Bolick was here, I think, for 19 years,
Mhm.
and Pastor Hunter has been here for 20 now. the ones, there were two that left after 3 years, but they had good reasons. One left to be a campus pastor.
Right.
And his father had been a campus pastor, and he had grown up on a campus, Pastor Horn. And so that was really his love, was that kind of ministry. And we were his only parish, so he just stayed 3 years. But he did a lot while he was here. So.
Well, that's really great. So my next question, last couple few, has God moved y'all to go out of your comfort zone or try something new, whether that be in the church or in the community?
Yeah, he urged me to get married.
There you go.
Outside of your comfort zone.
It has lasted for 61 years.
That was a good one. Good call. My last thing is, when you step out of the church, or maybe in the church, what are some things that you share with your friends and family about resurrection?
Well, we invite them to come often for unusual services. See, most of our friends are churched somewhere.
Right.
So we're not going to encourage proselyte, from the other churches.
Right.
But we have brought them to the Red Door Cafe and to musical concerts, and we talk about what's going on here. And as he said, we find out that we're doing a lot better in some ways than some other churches based on what their opinions are, which may not be right, but anyway.
No, that's perfect. Yeah. Is there anything that you would say specifically about our church?
To other people?
Well, it's a friendly church, and it has great worship services.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree completely.